Chris Pine wants to make a lower-budget Star Trek movie for Star Trek fans. Chris Pine wants to return as Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek IV, but he has his own ideas about how to make another Star Trek movie to please the fans. Pine and the cast of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek 2009 won over skeptical truckers by embodying the iconic characters of Star Trek, the original series, while injecting them with youth and verve. Pine would play an older Kirk in his 40s if Star Trek IV gets off the ground, which is an idea that interests him. Speaking to fans at Ace Superhero Comic Con 2024, as reported by Poppers, Chris Pine, who recently directed his first feature film, Pullman, spoke his viewpoint about which audience Star Trek IV should cater to. Not only does Pine think Star Trek IV should be made for die-hard Star Trek fans, but he suggests a smaller budgeted film with less action and fewer explosions that's more story and character driven. Read Chris's quote below. "It was always about getting the audience and building the audience. I think what we've found is that we've captured an audience with the Trek universe that may not have come to us, but generally speaking, it's the diehards. I think we should make films that appeal to people who want to see the film. I'm sick of trying to please people who don't want to see what we do. We're at a place where to make a film, you make it for like $500 million. That's $500 million to make these films that you like. For it to be considered successful and everyone to be paid back, you have to make extraordinary amounts of money. The metrics of it don't seem to make much sense to me. I think we should just make a much smaller film that's more story-driven, more character-based, there's less *T exploding, and maybe do it that way. Also, shoot it on film, not digital. And then you have the fan base. The fan base has always been very kind to me. Obviously, there's the trolls that lurk on the internet that hate everything, but generally, I think people really liked our Star Trek movies. Will Star Trek IV be a lower-budget Star Trek movie made for fans? J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies were designed as big-budget action blockbusters, and they brought a scale and cinematic quality the Star Trek franchise never had before. But while Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness were financially successful, Star Trek Beyond underperformed comparatively. And while Abrams' Star Trek movies did bring in a general audience, they still pale in comparison to the box office numbers Star Wars and Marvel Studios films achieved at their height, which indicates the limits of Star Trek's audience. Perhaps Chris Pine's vision for a smaller-scale, more character-driven Star Trek IV is the right way to go, which could also make the film align with the more story-centric approach of the Star Trek TV series that hard fans prefer. However, it's unclear what Paramount Pictures intends for Star Trek IV, as they continue to develop the next movie over 8 years after Star Trek Beyond left theaters. Paramount considers Star Trek a crown jewel franchise, and it's likely the studio still envisions Star Trek IV as a blockbuster film instead of the lower-budget, story-first approach Chris Pine wants to take Emperor Georgiou's family. New cast joins Michelle Yeoh's Star Trek Section 31 movie. Star Trek Section 31 reportedly cast actors playing the family of Emperor Philippa Georgiou, Michelle Yeoh. Directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi and written by Craig Sweeney, Section 31 is the first Star Trek movie made for streaming on Paramount Plus and currently awaits a release date. Academy Award winner Michelle Yeoh reprises her iconic role as Emperor Georgiou from Star Trek Discovery. Leading Section 31's cast that includes Sam Richardson, Humberly Gonzalez, and Casey Roll. Trek Central reports Star Trek Section 31 casts Cindy Go and Houston Wong as Emperor Georgiou's parents, as well as Nikita Kim as Philippa Georgiou's younger brother. Georgiou's family members may appear in flashbacks, but Star Trek Section 31 also involves time travel, and the Mirror Universe's former ruler could possibly visit the family of her Prime Universe counterpart, Captain Philippa Georgiou. Check out Trek Central's report below. Actress Cindy Go will be playing Georgiou's mother. Go seems to be a new actress to the scene. Her only previous role is in the production Kindred, which, like Section 31, is currently in post-production. Additionally, actor Nikita Kim will play Philippa Georgiou's younger brother. Kim is another fresh face in the acting scene. Their only previous role was in the TV series The Desert. It seems Star Trek Section 31 will expand on family life for Philippa Georgiou. Actor Houston Wong will play Georgiou's dad. They've appeared in quite a few TV series and TV movies before. Productions include One More Time and Air Crash Investigation. Now, based on the ages of those involved here, it seems we may be looking at flashbacks. However, there is the possibility of more time travel happening. We know that Georgiou has been thrown back in time following her last appearance in Star Trek Discovery. Where she ends up is unknown. Star Trek Section 31 will be unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con. Star Trek Section 31 is part of Paramount Plus, a Star Trek Universe panel at San Diego Comic-Con, along with Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Lower Decks, and Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Although Michelle Yeoh won't be attending, Omari Hardwick, Sam Richardson, Casey Roll, director Olatondo Tsunami, and executive producer Alex Kurtzman will represent Section 31 in Hall H. Fingers are crossed Star Trek Section 31's release date will be announced, and a trailer will be revealed. There's a huge amount of curiosity surrounding Section 31, especially since it's Michelle Yeoh's return to Star Trek since winning the Best Actress Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Only Yeoh and Casey Roll's characters have been announced. Roll is playing the young Rachel Garrett from Star Trek The Next Generation, and fans are hoping to finally learn more about the new faces in Star Trek Section 31. And as the first Star Trek streaming movie on Paramount Plus, a lot is riding on Star Trek Section 31's success. Did Jake Sisko accidentally start Star Trek Deep Space Nine's Dominion War? Did Jake Sisko, Sarek Lofton, accidentally start the Dominion War in Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 2? Early in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's run, the Dominion were known to only a few Star Trek Deep Space Nine characters who had political dealings with the Gamma Quadrant. The Dominion were first mentioned as the mysterious power that drives the Gamma Quadrant in Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 2, Episode 7, Rules of Acquisition, when Grand Nagus Zek, Wallace Shawn, sends Quark, Armin Shimerman, to the Gamma Quadrant to open trade routes on behalf of the Ferengi Alliance. In Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 2, Episode 26, The Jem'Hadar, Jake Sisko needs to choose a science project for himself and his best friend, Nog, Aaron Eisenberg. After Jake's botanical studies and requests to learn how to pilot a runabout are shot down by Jake's father, Commander Benjamin Sisko, Avery Brooks, Jake decides that a camping trip to the Gamma Quadrant would make a great project. Commander Sisko agrees and accompanies Jake and Nog and last-minute addition Quark to an M-class planet in the Gamma Quadrant for the boys' planetary survey projects. Unfortunately, the planet isn't quite as uninhabited as Jake thought. Jake Sisko's Star Trek Deep Space Nine science project provokes the Dominion. Jake Sisko's science project in Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 2, Episode 26, The Jem'Hadar, had the unfortunate consequence of provoking the Dominion. While Jake and Nog are performing their planetary survey, Benjamin Sisko and Quark encounter Iris, Molly Hagan, a Vorta who pretends to be captured by Jem'Hadar soldiers along with Sisko and Quark. Iris explains that the Jem'Hadar are the Dominion's soldiers, and the Dominion's founders are not to be crossed. While this is helpful information, Iris's Ruse also lets the Dominion learn more about the Federation from Sisko, which lets the Dominion determine whether to consider the Federation a threat. During the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the Dominion are biding their time. While observing the comings and goings through the Bajoran wormhole, the Dominion wait to see if anyone from the Alpha Quadrant will actually interfere with the Dominion's chokehold on the Gamma Quadrant. Commander Sisko is one of the first Federation members that the Dominion have the opportunity to observe and question, and Sisko's captor,